And then she said, if the ball moves, you move.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, at least my nipples are out.
I almost went with that one. So, okay, it is 80 degrees here in Virginia, where I am located. What's it like in wherever you are, South Dakota?
It is snowing. It's snowing. It stopped snowing now. Now it's just cold, damp, and miserable. I don't know. Let me get my AccuWeather app out to see what the exact temperature is. Although, oh, it is 34 right now. It feels like 29. Wind is making it feel a little bit colder.
So it is.
We're supposed to get 2 to 4 inches of snow. Frick, I should not have looked at this. This is not helping. This is not helping my situation right now.
I lied. It's 70 right now, not 80. Tomorrow it's supposed to get to 80.
Oh my God. Look at that. That is just a big glob of rain. But when you're at 6,000 feet, it turns into snow, is what I'm finding out.
Right. Well, all I could think of as I was coming to join our podcast today was, oh my gosh, my shoulders are showing. My mom is going to be so upset that my shoulders are showing. And then I'm like, wait a minute. This is not a business podcast. This is not, I mean, I am always representing K-Now, maybe, I feel like. But then I was also thinking, like I said earlier, at least I put a bra on for you because my nipples were out.
Okay. So the fact that you were, okay, growing up, did you ever see me at all?
No.
In any kind of sleeps? Did you even know I had arms?
No. I actually don't think I knew you even had a tattoo until I was like grown. If you want to know the truth.
I had 3.
I know. Like I said, you were grown. Well, okay. So
I don't think I had tattoos either. No one.
I have went completely opposite, except, okay, so that's where Taylor has definitely followed in your footsteps, and she is always clothed and always has the appropriate undergarments on.
Amen.
Me, however, I hate underwear, period. I think they are horrible. Like, why should I have to wear more layers? Like, that's not good, which we did learn that there are times when I should have underwear on when I do not. A lot. Actually, we go through that in Target quite a bit if you want to know the truth. And then 2, I feel so constrained right now with a bra on, and it's a sports bra. So it's like another tank top, just a mini tank top. I don't know why, but undergarments are not my thing.
Forget.
Just in case you were curious.
We were in Boise, and your dad, it was during COVID, I think, and we were finally like decorating your house, and your dad came. And so your house had a ledge, like a 12-foot ledge that we were decorating.
Tall ledge.
Yeah, and so you were standing, plus it had a weird, like the dining room had a weird half, like the wall.
Half wall.
12 feet, and then it stopped. Yeah. So like it was never enclosed, which was so dumb. But anyway, so you're standing on top of the ladder, and you have one leg on the top of the ledge, and your dad
flowy pants on.
I know, and your dad went over to help you, and you're like, I don't have underwear on, and he was like,
at least I warned him.
Thank God, he would have died. He would have
dropped. The ladder would have gone out from underneath me for him trying to run away. Okay, I'm sorry, but we used to talk about yeast infections at family dinner. You have 2 daughters. Like, there was always going to be a time when, how many times?
Normal fathers don't want to see their daughter's vagina. Right?
At least we gave him warning. As I did while I was breastfeeding, too, we would let him know, boob out, and he would uncomfortably divert himself fastly into a different area, which is hilarious because I breastfed in front of everyone. Boob was always out when he was born. And I don't know.
Wear clothes.
Just
That is the moral of this story is wear clothes.
I have clothes on. That's why we were okay. So I was working out prior to my
Oh.
life-changing injury that I'm sure we will talk about in a minute. And we went for a family walk after I went out and did my own walk. And Dustin, we're walking. Dustin's like, "Are you wearing underwear?"
Oh my God.
No, I had shorts on. And let me just tell you, micro shorts are back in, just saying. I don't know if a 40-year-old in micro shorts should be, but in my brain, I'm not. I'm still 20.
Well, and I'm guessing that your husband at some point didn't care that you wore micro shorts because I remember when you used to bartend in Destin.
Oh, those were underwear.
When you were paying your way through college. I'm pretty sure.
Let me just say, I do have standards though. I can't do the midriff showing. Like for some reason, my stomach area.
So your ass can hang out, your vagina can be out, but God forbid your belly button fully covered.
Don't forget about my nipples. I don't care about my nipples being out either.
Jeez, that belly button, it's hit.
But let me tell you, the midriff area will always have my tank top. I might not have anything under it. My shorts, I might not have anything under it. But let me tell you, my shorts and my tank top will meet in the middle.
Oh my God. I remember. So when in the 90s, so Kyler, it was after I had Kyler, I went to get a tattoo. And my best friend Darcy, who is the worst influence on me ever, any decisions that I've ever made that were really, really bad, she was a part of. Anyway, she's like, "Oh, don't get another tattoo, get your belly button pierced." Why I would get my belly button pierced when I've never once showed my belly button. I think even when I wore a swimsuit, I pulled it up over my belly button. That was the worst decision of not the worst decision of my life, but I mean
It was up there.
it
It was up there.
like why would I have a belly button pierced that I've never once showed my belly button ever? And I had to wear overalls for like 6 months because I jumped during the piercing and it didn't heal right. So it oozed pus. It was disgusting. It was so gross.
I am gonna say I have been there for one of your tattoos. I've been there for more than one of your tattoos, but I cannot see you like getting anything pierced. Like I feel like
I
your reaction to it would not be.
it was
I don't know.
Well,
I
and
don't know. I can't.
she got hers pierced first, and she's like, "Oh, that didn't even hurt." It did. It did. I don't even. Do we want to talk about piercings, or are we going to skip over this section now? We're just going to skip, right? We're just going to go.
Speaking of bad decisions in life, yeah, we can skip over our piercing situations.
We don't need to let your
I'm just gonna say, Uncle Dirt, close your ears. Skip over. No. I will say, even though in my bartending days, I was just thinking back, I always had shirts on. Like, I never, no matter how low my pants were.
I'm glad you had shirts on.
Like, I never bartended in, like, my swimsuit top or any, like, my stomach has always been covered. I don't know. That's weird.
Okay, so you bartended in underwear. Taylor bartended pregnant.
Yeah. We gotta like, pay our way through things. I don't know what to tell you.
It's like I made the best money when I was pregnant with Hattie bartending because people felt so bad for me.
They always feel bad for you. Yeah.
On a boat in the middle of the lake bartending when you're 10 months pregnant. She was probably only 8 months pregnant anyway, but
oh my God.
Girls, you're always hard workers. But
that, you are correct. We did work. Always worked.
Well, I think this could go into, so we're going to skip a bit. We're going to go into F and Jepsens because I want to talk about why this whole
doesn't matter what's going on right now.
Oh
F and Jepsens.
The F and Jepsens.
F and Jepsens.
And there's 3 of you that I'm so over. So one,
I don't even count anymore, do I?
Yeah. F and Jepsen. Taylor, Britt, and Shane. So we'll start with Taylor. Taylor does direct with our clients, which I love. She knew she would have to do direct. Taylor has a spinal cord injury that she's a
That
cripple.
I had to fly and spend 2 weeks with her after she gave birth to one of her children because she was bedridden because the scar tissue around her spinal cord had swollen and she couldn't move.
Oh yeah,
But she is on the floor with those kids
yeah.
at the center.
She can't get up, but she's on the floor.
No, or move fast.
Her legs are completely swollen and she can't move, which that happens all the time. So maybe she should be removed from the effing Jepsons this time. That's just life. Your father, I'm going to go to your father really quick. He is crippled all the time, which no one knows, which is the funniest thing to me because people will be like, oh, I didn't know that, because he never stops. I will say, you guys got this from your dad, because I can definitely take a day where I just lay and do nothing, but he doesn't ever stop. He's always doing crap no matter what. So he got carpal tunnel surgery, thank God. So he's not like up flopping around all night, but he's not supposed to be doing a lot of stuff, and he can't put weight on it, all this other stuff. So he's out helping me in the pasture, raking and picking up poop and all the kind of things that you do. And all of a sudden I hear a thud where I couldn't figure out what happened, and he's laying on the ground. He is tripped because
flopping around. That's what I get. Your dad was laying on the ground, flopping around.
Like a fish on the end of a line, because he can't bend his one leg. He needs to have his knee replaced again. And he caught it on a piece of rock or God knows what. And he couldn't stop himself because of his hand surgery. And he went down like a freaking ton of bricks. It was like a tree. Guess what? Shane Jepsen falling in the woods does make a noise, in case you're not around to hear it. And then what he was trying to do was like roll himself over fast, so I didn't see him laying there, but he couldn't get himself kicked over because he can't bend. And then watching him get up, he does like a crab crawl thing because he can't bend his knees. It is the most ridiculous thing. Anyway, I did think he was hurt because I thought all I saw him was like kicking, and I'm like, oh my God, he hit his head, and now I'm gonna have to call the ambulance. It's gonna be a whole big deal. But then he got himself up, and then I just couldn't stop laughing. He was fine. But
you were laughing before you found out he was fine. Okay.
I wasn't, because I thought, I'm out. I have no signal. Like, it would have created, the ambulance coming would have been a whole big production, and I would have been irritated. But the reason that he's an effing Jepsen is because he knows he can't do that stuff. Like, he knows he's not supposed to be raking and throwing sticks and all of that, but he doesn't stop. He just keeps.
That's because, okay, let me tell you for the mindset before you go into the third effing Jepsen. Just wait before you get to the third effing Jepsen. Is because when you are physically, like, I literally think to the day that I can't run anymore. I think to the day that I can't get down and play catch. Like, it's annoying to think that there's going to be a day that I can't move. So you got to move all you can. And Dad's getting up there. I mean, I love him, but he's getting old. And there's going to be a day that he can't move.
He's 54. Is he 54? He's going to be 54.
I don't know.
Old. Okay, so knowing your limitations. So now we have Taylor does not know her limitations at all.
No.
Your dad does not. And now you. So I love that you are working with clients and doing all that stuff. And I'm guessing it's a combination of playing baseball with the boys and doing all that, and then working with the clients. And now what did you actually do that I knew that you were actually in pain? Went to the doctor.
I called. Yes, I did. I called and got a doctor's appointment. So, okay. So I originally, before we even left Idaho, got a referral for my x-ray and ortho and never followed through with it because I'm horrible at it for my knee. Because I can tell my knee's going bad. It's been going bad for quite a few years. However, I, again, am like, there's going to be a day that I can't move, right? So I'm like, I'm just going to stay in shape or whatever. Well, I think overcompensating for my knee it's caused pain in my hip. And I haven't ever had hip pain before.
You're going to be rubbing your inner thigh like your dad used to. So he would get, before he had his knee replaced, because of the way he walks and the way he was
Yeah.
compensating it, it was like putting pressure on that nerve. And then he would like have to rub his inner thigh. You can't walk around as a dude rubbing your inner thigh all the time. It's creepy. That's going to be you.
Well, it's my
Because,
outer
but
that makes my leg go numb.
you're going to need a knee replacement. And once you get a knee
So
replacement, you're going to feel better.
my oldest son is outfield, and he the other day ran to the fence to get a ball, and he needs to work on his running a little bit. So this Sunday we were out, and I'm like, let's go run down to the cul-de-sac and run around. And that was fine. We were running. It was fine. We were at our last, like, the street right before our house. I'm like, let's race home because he wanted to quit running. And he took off and I took off. And when I took off, something happened when I took off, and I couldn't finish the sprint back to the house. And something happened with my hip when I did that. And I'm not sure what it was.
Did
And
for you?
what?
Did you stop and have to walk? Did anyone come look for you?
No, I wasn't very far from the house. Would anybody come look for me anyway? Let's be serious. Anyway,
No.
so I Sunday night couldn't walk. Monday couldn't barely walk. And woke up Tuesday and I'm like, oh, I feel a lot better. And I started walking and I'm like, ooh, I do not feel a lot better. And I called the doctor, which is a very strong indicator of I am in an actual lot of pain. So I went to the doctor, and here's your effing Jepsen for me, or favorite animal, is when somebody irritates me like this. So I'm sitting, and the nurse is taking down my notes and everything. And I'm like, so I don't want any pain meds. I don't want to take anything. And she literally is like, so then what do you want to do then? Or what are you here for? Why are you here? Or something like that. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, I am here for an x-ray, an MRI, and an ortho referral. And to see if there's any other option to maybe not be in pain every single day. And so she's like, okay, and goes and gets the doctor, and the doctor comes back, and I got an x-ray. I'm currently waiting on the results of that x-ray. And then I got crutches and a knee brace, which were everything I knew would happen. So I got put on crutches yesterday, and I've used them like not at all, because I showed up at my son's baseball game and they were short coaches. So then I hobbled my little self to help them practice, and this morning I am in pain again.
So the problem is, which I think we've had this discussion throughout your life since you hurt your knee. What were you, like 12 when you were a junior?
My very first surgery was in 8th grade.
Yeah. So if you don't get it taken care of, it just gets worse, which I understand. You're in a military healthcare system. Again, those of you that talk about the military gets free healthcare. So you, like, even the process of getting the referral, because we already know you have do you have an x-ray or an MRI that no one can find for another health issue?
Yeah. The referral, like, I can't get the referral for my other health to get the x-ray or MRI of my brain or whatever. But here's the other thing. Okay, this is the best. So I'm getting an x-ray, and the freaking they have a fire drill in the middle of my x-ray. So I hobble myself out to the dumpsters and get to sit with the x-ray techs, it was her very first duty station, and she just got there in September.
Oh.
They were 12. They were. And anyway, they were talking about how one of them had to be in a surgery coming later that afternoon, and she was really hoping that there was a chair she could sit in, because last time she had to stand for 20 minutes just to take a picture during the surgery. And I'm like, oh my God, I am so old. Like, stand for 20 minutes.
Why could she stand for 20 minutes?
But like, oh, I hope there's a chair. And then they were talking about the person, they couldn't come up with the anesthesiologist monitoring guy's name, like what he was monitoring, and I'm like, is he monitoring the anesthesia? And they're like, oh yeah, that's what he's monitoring at the top of the, or at the top of the table. And I'm like, oh my god, I've only seen Grey's Anatomy, and I can tell you that it's but he gets a chair. That was the conversation.
Oh, that was the whole conversation, was the fact that he got to sit in a chair and they didn't.
And they didn't. But I'm like, oh my god, our healthcare system.
Those first duty station corpsmen, which they're not corpsmen in the Air Force, are they? Are they not called?
No, I don't know.
So when I gave birth to Taylor,
I think they were actually she was Army, because she was saying how we got all the good bases because my husband was Air Force.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's joint base.
That is true. So when I was giving birth to my second child, Taylor, back in '92, the corpsman that was assisting the doctor I was his first birth that he'd seen. And like, I'm giving birth.
Lord.
All I can remember, first of all, he looked 17.
12.
Yeah, like he was young. And I was young. I was only 21. But that kid, he did get a chair because he almost passed out. Like, he had to sit down. I'm like, oh my God. And all I remember is him, like, his face was just like white. Like, he just, and I thought, you know what? I bet he never thought, I'm joining the Navy, I'm going to get to like be in birth. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Oh my God, that's funny. That is ridiculous. Yeah.
So yeah, the F in Jepsons is knowing that you do have physical limitations sometimes, and you have to be able to.
Okay, but I don't like the word limitation. I reject the word limitation. I see the limitation as a perceived injustice.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Is it perceived?
It is not perceived. It is an injustice. Do not tell me there is a limitation.
I love, though, that the knee, now the rest of the issues you probably have in your life, you can blame on me, but the knee is definitely your father. You can blame that one all on him.
I am just saying, like, I understand that some people might think that I'm overreacting a little bit, but the fact that I called the doctor and was like, I have to get in the next 24 hours, that's how much pain I'm in. And this honestly is the first time I've been in this much pain 100% sober. I'm just going to say that. And so I think that is also like,
that might be that you're like, oh my God, oh really? This is what it means to feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm laughing, but honestly.
Yeah. So that is the other thing too. Like, the crutches are a bit dramatic, I'm not going to lie. And I was on crutches for a very long time in high school while I was waiting for knee surgeries. But they are literally so for that. But I can also feel, so last night at baseball, I didn't use anything, and I can feel it in my other leg now too, of how I overcompensated. So I'm like, crap, I need to remember to just suck it up, and it's okay.
Let me tell you about the whole pain med kind of situation anyway. So we all know my addictions are not pain meds or alcohol. We know what my addictions are. Oh, spending money. Love to spend it. Love it. Anyway, I will say, living in the middle of nowhere, I do spend less money. Although my ordering game has definitely increased, but it doesn't do the same for me. I need instant gratification.
Is that a new sweatshirt? And where is mine?
No, this is the one I have had.
Downstairs. I feel like that's a new one.
This is the one I ordered for you. You made me get this one for you.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Well, I know it's downstairs. It was in Minnesota. Remember? That was the whole discussion about the sweatshirt. It was in Minnesota, in Lakeville, where Stevie was.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay. Let's go back to your addictions.
Oh, my God. Okay. Anyway, so your dad gets carpal tunnel surgery, which is a super easy surgery, supposedly. I don't know. I've only had one surgery and I thought I was dying, so I don't know. But he says to them, I don't want pain meds. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we think you should take them. So he's like, Okay, well, we'll get them just in case I need them because God forbid it's horrible. So we get the pain meds. We get home. I take the pain meds because he's like, I don't want them. You just take them. So I take
Don't
the.
she doesn't take them. Like, I don't think so anyway. Do you? I guess I should clarify that.
I take the prescription bag with me
In possession.
in
She takes them into
possession,
her possession. There
and
you
I
go.
put it somewhere. And anyway, I open it up and it has Vicodin and Narcan. Is that how you say it? So they give him like a huge high dose of Vicodin because again, I've taken care of a kid that they sent home with morphine. So I understand pain medication and because Taylor, it was liquid morphine and like I know. So it's Vicodin at a very high dosage of Vicodin for a little tiny surgery. And I don't everyone's but the fact that then they give you Narcan so that if you
Man.
do OD, you can shoot it up your nose so you don't kill yourself.
Oh my God.
So I
Did
don't
they explain how to use it?
know, but do they now when they prescribe a narcotic like that, do they have to give you? I mean, is that the
I
rule
don't know.
or is that just the VA? Because that's
Or is
again,
it just because he said that?
I don't know. I guess I'd never asked. I don't know. Everyone, so we're in the VA anyway, and our VA where we go now, or he goes now, it's very nice. Like it's in an old building and everything, but there people are so helpful. I think when I was talking to you on the phone, like 6 different people asked me if I needed help finding something. Like they're super helpful, but everyone is 120. Like I'm
Yes.
not. Like we actually saw a scooter incident where a guy ran over a lady with his scooter. And then your dad comes home the other day he went to get his checkup, which everything's doing fine, and he got his hair cut at the VA. We've now moved on to that. He's like, it was only $9. And I'm like,
Oh dear Lord.
it's a high and tight. It's like a boot cut. Yeah, cut.
Okay. Again, love my dad. How does he get a high and tight though?
Well, it's really tight, and then there's a strip of high. Like it's fade. The fade is a military fade. You know how like when you get a normal haircut, you don't have the fade? Like the fade looks very specific to military. It's that fade on the side that looks like but then he has like a strip of I don't know. Anyway, that's the medical situation with you people is exhausting.
It's ridiculous. My God. Uh, okay, so let's talk about the ball moves you move. This goes into our ABA talk too a little bit today.
Oh.
Uh, and I think it's in life, just in general, the ball moves you move. So we are very like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't feel like we're ever like stationary in life, period. So, squirrel, first off, I feel like there may be follow-up questions from our previous episode when there was a dog incident that something got fell off of a count table and we never actually got conclusion of what was broken. So I do feel like we need to follow up because at least Uncle Dirt will like to know what got broke off your desk when he listens to the
It was
podcast.
it was my 2 little houses. That stupid freaking dog jumped off my lap and knocked off my ceramic houses and shattered them. I forgot about that. That dog, oh my God, he's I've been looking for a picture, a very specific picture this last 24 hours. And as I'm going through all the boxes, Henry is right beside me pulling shit out of the boxes.
He's just trying to help. I don't know how. That you should see my office right now trying to find the picture on my end. Not find it whatsoever. I have a lot of pictures of random people who are no longer a part of my life, or I had never knew, and cannot find the specific picture that I am looking for. But now I'm pretty sure it's in Idaho, if you want to know the truth, with the other pictures.
So I think we need to decide if some people. So we're looking for this picture, and Britt opens a box that has a picture. Her and Dustin. How long have you and Dustin been together?
2010.
Yeah. So 15 years.
15 years.
15 years. She finds a picture. Was it a picture or a letter? I don't know what. She opened the wrong box and it was Dustin's box. And she's like, oh, here's a picture of this girl that Dustin got in a fight about. And I'm like, first of all,
In 2010. In 2010. In 2010.
I'm like, you should just take the picture out and set it on the island. So when he comes home, he sees it and just see what he does.
Oh my God.
You know, he I don't even know how he would handle that. Would he just
He'd probably just walk by it.
and just hope that he
Shake
didn't
his
have
head.
a conversation about
Yup. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. But, okay. So the ball moves, we move. So we are not stationary. I feel like we are always moving. Something is always happening and we are always moving with the ball. The ball is life. Life moves, we move. And we were just talking about this with some of our clients of trying to like
block,
redirect, like kind of all those different things.
Your dryer's done.
It is, hold on.
Okay, go back to your analogy.
Okay, so the ball moves, we move. So this is life in general. The ball moves, we move in life. Okay, so we are now taking this analogy to working with our clients. And like, I feel like sometimes when people get into the field, they're thinking that they're going to sit at a table with a client and run goals, or sit with them and color, or sit with them and do things. Newsflash, first off, kids in general, they move. But especially kids who may or may not, or may be on the autism spectrum, where their interests, first off, are all over the place a lot of times. But we are not stationary in our approach anyway. Like, we are very, like, let's go, doors open approach. Like, we move with your interests when your interests move. So we are now using the analogy, the ball moves, you move. Your client moves, you move. And the other day, I got to operationally define what not sitting, which again, not is, we don't usually use that in ABA, but not sitting means that your butt cheeks do not touch the floor. Period.
Well, getting up, and as an older gal, getting up is a lot harder.
Well, and I'm very sure what aided in my injury was having the squatting up and down. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy to do. But don't come into the field thinking you're going to sit at a table. Okay, let me rephrase that. Don't come into the field and work for us, right, just in general, or have us be a BCBA and think you're going to sit at the table with a kid.
I think we need to clarify, if we do have listeners, not that our BTs or our
BCBAs, no,
it wasn't that they sit.
Oh no,
because they're super active with the clients, but it also was, oh my gosh, like how do we maintain this? And this is the other thing I was teaching last night, and we were talking about most of the one lady was like, I thought you had to be an RBT to be a BCBA. And I'm like, well, let me tell you a story about my hurt feelings and not being a BCBA or being an RBT. But it is a high intensity field. Like, to be an RBT, I know that the RBTs that we have, not only in Iowa, but in Minnesota, that are really, really good RBTs, they go home every night exhausted. Because they're moving, they're playing, especially if they have a client who loves to be super active and likes to move and do those things. Like, they're tired. It is a high intensity field. And the other thing is that as a BCBA, now my only experience has been in telehealth, so that is different. But when you're a BCBA in a clinic, you should be in there working with the clients. You shouldn't be able to sit at an office. If I were if I were in person in Iowa and that was my clinic that I was, which it is my clinics technically, but like if that was my clinic as a BCBA, I would not I would not be in an office off doing
No.
stuff.
And all the time. Sometimes you have treatment plans to do. I get that. But
You should be active. You should be in there with the client.
mhm.
Your pocket shouldn't be on the chair either. Like you should be in there doing things and helping out.
I didn't use pockets because the pants they wear, they don't have pockets. I'm just
Well,
saying.
that's a
That's
whole
why.
other thing. Y'all were wearing like good thing Kelly wasn't there. There were leggings and all kinds of
Well,
things.
that's our uniform.
Kelly would have had a stroke.
She probably would have had a stroke. Me and the other BCBA matched. I felt like that was good.
No, you all had that was the other thing. Taylor's like, oh, Canyon, are those from Amazon? Are those leggings I had? And I'm like, oh my God, Kelly somewhere is going, leggings?
Our bottoms were covered. There was no nipples out. There was no camel toe showing. No belly button.
So let's talk about why Kelly has had experience in the field where an RBT came to a session and she forgot
Yikes.
her switches. Kelly,
Okay, first off, Kelly is Southern. She monograms things. That's how I'm going to explain
they
my
wear
best friend.
and monogram. But the best part was I remember she called us and she's like, I don't know how to address this. She forgot her pants. I'm like, well, they should have pants on.
It was
So
young.
14
And
pages,
there, the clean now dress code was born.
14
That
pages.
is why when it was 100 degrees out and they wanted to play outside, and Heather's like, "Can I wear leggings because I'm going to be running outside?" And Kelly's like, "No, no, ma'am, you cannot."
Like you can. You can wear
Heather
leggings.
love working the Ike and Ivy side. She can wear her athletic clothes and not have to be in jeans and sweating.
Well, the clothing thing as being a BT, this I'm like, okay, deciding a dress code should not be that difficult, right? Like
It is.
but also like the field in general, any field, the things are not as structured as they used to be. So if you look back like in the 50s, I look back at how women used to have to dress, like if this you would have had to have heels, a dress, all of that stuff. When I worked, I started in medical field in, I don't know, was it like 90 something? Nurses still had to wear like a lot of them in certain I worked in a Catholic hospital where the nurses still had like to wear specific things and all this. Anyway, I nowadays y'all can wear pretty much whatever you want. But the thing about dress code too is like we had to put specific things in there because you had a client you worked with in Idaho who was older and didn't want people to know
Hmm.
you were working with him as a BT or I
Yeah.
what you were doing then. I don't know. At that point,
Yeah,
Taylor,
I would go to football practice
you
and
were
we'd
doing
work on social goals.
yeah,
And he didn't want people to know that I was a therapist.
yeah.
I was just part of the family. And that's fine because he advocated for himself and he was still allowed the support when needed. And I just wore regular like clothes like I would if I were going to watch my kids' football. Well, okay, no, I lied. I wore better, more covered clothes than if I were going to watch my kids play sports.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
No, but that's one
Uh,
of those things because we had that conversation with Ike and Ivy because they're like, we're going to require people to wear scrubs. And I'm like,
mm-mm.
no, because you don't know
I
if you're
don't like the scrubs thing anyway. Like,
no.
I'm not a huge scrubs person because we are medical, but we're not like a hospital.
Well, and I
So,
think
okay,
was it scrubs because of the comfort, I'm guessing.
I think so. And they've got pants that I think can be considered scrub pants. But so I think the thing with the dress code is, first off, early in my career, had a boss who I told me it was when I wanted red hair. And it wasn't even a weird colored hair. I wanted red in my hair. And I'm not naturally a redhead, whatever. Anyway, it was like a bright red. But her explanation was, we're a Christian organization and you need to represent us as a Christian organization. So apparently Christians can't have bright red hair.
Do you not
Did
remember
you know that?
the unicorn hair color?
So, okay, that's what I'm saying. So this is where this has come from and why Kelly graciously meets us in the middle with the K Now dress code was because I was told that. Second, when I got hired, I was like, I have this wrist tattoo that my mom told me never to get, and I did anyway. And I was like, and I have one on my foot. Now my foot will be covered because I have shoes on, but I need you to know I have this one wrist tattoo, right? And it's not even anything. It is a child abuse prevention ribbon, right? And she's like, that's fine. Hired me knowing I had my one. And then like a couple years in, all of a sudden, absolutely no tattoos could show. That's fine. Don't change your freaking mind. First, that's the other thing. And because so then I had to always have my wrist covered with something, which was not that big of a deal. But I'm like, that is the dumbest thing. How does me having a wrist tattoo and red hair change how I deliver therapy? It doesn't. I'm actually a lot more fun when my hair is more colorful, or it's like on TikTok when your tattoos are showing versus when they're not showing. But the one thing I did learn is dress for your audience is a huge thing. Now, if I have a kid who I know draws on himself constantly, I am going to wear long sleeves because I have a sleeve and I have a wrist tattoo. And if he sees that I have drawn on myself, he's going to draw on himself.
After your mother told you not to get a tattoo on your arm or that you cover up.
Really? Should I put my hair up and show my other tattoos that my mother told me not to get?
Neck tattoo, and you got 2 neck tattoos.
I got ear tattoos. They do not go all the way to my neck.
Where's
Anyway.
the back of your ear?
Anyway. So, again, client. 2, I was in leggings and a t-shirt and a K-Now shirt during session and socks and no shoes because that's how we roll at Ike and Ivy. Anyway, that night we talked to parents and professionals, changed up my clothes. So that is the other thing, like dress for your audience. And the very first thing we teach all of our interns, have an extra set of clothes at your ready. Because not only to change, exactly, you don't know what's going to happen. We have a client right now who likes to pee on people. I had 2 changes of clothes. I had my professional like pants and ready to talk to parents, plus a second set of clothes because I knew there was a chance I could get peed on. So like dress for your audience and your clients too.
Well, and I obviously do not think that if you have tattoos that
because she has a lot, even though I didn't know she had any till I was like in my 20s. But
because I'm fully dressed, for God's sakes.
Jeez. I know, I can't even remember seeing you in a swimsuit when you were younger. And when I think about it,
that's probably some body image issues where we probably could go deeper into therapy for that. But let's move on. I did wear a swimsuit all the time because I showed up in Iowa. I'll never forget this. And I had Victoria's Secrets used to sell swimsuits and they had the best swimsuits. I loved the swimsuits. So me and my friend Darcy, who shared a brain, she was in Connecticut and I was in Louisiana, and we ended up in Iowa together with all of you children. Probably not the best parenting couple of months. But anyway, we show up at the beach and we have matching swimsuits on. 2-piece swimsuits. I'll never forget that. We're laying there in our matching swimsuits. That was good. So I did wear a swimsuit and go to the beach and probably got in the water with you.
Interesting.
I probably did. I probably screamed at you from the beach, don't go past your knees because you'll fall and drown.
Well, that's because I would fall and drown.
You would. But I do say, but I worked in the health. I had a tattoo. At that point, the tattoo was like as big as a quarter on my ankle, and you had to wear pantyhose and I had to put a bandage over it if I wore anything that showed my ankle. Like, it was ridiculous. And plus, my grandmother would have, I'm sure the minute like she knows that I have tattoos that could be visible to other people, like rolled in her grave like 52 times, because that was her whole thing. Like, do not, I don't even think she knew I had tattoos. It was such a big issue.
Deal, it was bigger. I feel like that and the colored hair too is different. Like
Yeah.
maybe specifically in our field too. But
And
oh
I
yeah.
always told you that was the other thing. I never cared about hair because hair is
Mm-mm.
beautiful. Like I would never, even when you guys were younger, I didn't care what you did with your hair or whatever. The tattoo thing was too. It's like back when you got the tattoos, you guys were, I mean, that was almost 20 years ago, technically. And I was like, do not get where they show, because back then it was a bigger deal
Yeah.
that you had tattoos. And I'm like, at some point, you're gonna have to cover them. So I did feel a little vindicated during the whole tattoo covering things. I'm like, again, your mother is right. Like, God, do you thank your stars every day that you have such a all-knowing and wonderful mother? And
Every
that's
day.
every day. And I'm like,
Mm-mm.
every time, and I have my notebook full of times I was right where you all didn't believe me. Like, it's getting longer as I get older. And now that you guys have children, it's even more so, because oh yeah, let's talk about the time. Let's talk about when we were together this time. Did we already talk about that, where you
Yeah, we talked about that already. Where
you
Cash, yeah, we already talked about that.
oh, that one, that
Let it go. Move it on.
where you use the exact same line to,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's your little brother.
Oh my God. No. So again, dress for your audience.
No,
Like I said, I was very concerned about my shoulders showing today, but it's okay.
my shoe
Uh,
covered, mind you.
my God. Okay, so I need to. This has been coming our new segment. Apparently, is Dr. Farley's rant,
Mhm.
or my unpopular opinion. Okay, so I feel like you're gonna be on my side for this. We'll see. We'll see how this one goes. Um,
Well,
so I have talked to two parents the past couple of days of kiddos who are
where's my chakra stone that I put on my forehead?
doing really good in school, but their outside of school is maybe a little like crazy. And one of them has been doing really good in school that some of their behavior supports have got lifted, which I think is great, right? However, outside of school life is a hot freaking mess right now. So here's my unpopular opinion right now is the fact that academics trump everything. So this mom told me, I don't want to change up the meds. I don't want to change anything because they are doing so well academically and they're doing great, but they're not sleeping at night. They are rummaging through the house at night. They are getting into everyone's crap at night. Like, they're not sleeping. They're not listening at the home. Like, they're having some behavior issues in the home environment. Okay? So they don't want to change up med stuff. So because she is being more successful at school, then she and academics are so important. All right. So I did some research on why academics are so stressed in life. And they're more measurable. They're more comparable. I can compare kids based on academics. They are a social construct that was set by the education system in the US in comparing to how we present our superiority over other countries. Okay, that's where I am. And they are pushed as a gateway to success. If I am academically successful, I will be successful in life. False. Okay, so here's my examples. I got 4 of them. Ready? I even wrote my stuff down. And Frank didn't even help me on this one. So, okay, so a student can know 2 plus 2 equals 4, but can't sit next to a peer without hitting them when they say the answer first. Okay, but at least they know 2 plus 2 is 4. They can understand photosynthesis, but runs out of the room after their seat assignment is changed and jumps over the fence at the school. 3, can spell elephant, but is unable to follow a multi-step directive without dropping to the floor and crying. And 4, is able to answer 3 questions about a passage after being read to, but keeps getting kicked out of class for having their hood up and humming in class. So tell me how these four individuals are going to be more successful in life because they have their academics are on point. They're not. They will not be more successful because of their academics.
So let's just point out that my experience is in education. So I love that. But also, I do agree with you now. Did I agree with you before I entered this field? Probably not. I would say, well, you have to have academics to be successful because that is what society gauges your success on. Because I do feel like previously, and maybe not so much now, but academics was the benchmark to success. And I think that we have moved away from that as a society in academic engagement.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do wonder how, I mean, this is the thing that I think we question is like, how do you gauge the two things? Because I had a child even back, 20 years ago who was very, very smart, and her behavior, oh, see, I just gave it away because isn't you? Her behavior,
Their behavior
did not match her academics. And so like she was not selected to do things, even though she was at the top of her class academically because of her behavior. So then like it became this two-fall thing, like, oh, well, you're not as good in academics because of your behavior. Behavior's not as good because you're not academically where you are, because they were not giving. And our education system is.
Well, okay. And I will say the last one. So my dear son and he is so smart. He's right now being tested for the TAG program, but he got my spelling. It's probably a combination of me and his dad's because I don't think his dad can spell either. And he's like, don't understand. I can tell you five different ways that I can find that spelling for you. Why do I need to pull it out of my head? Like, this is how I can find spelling.
He hates spelling, so he's came up with his own method to spell things in a spelling test, which is the most convoluted method. And
yes.
It's right. It doesn't work. I'm like, Cash, you can create your own method for something, but it should be successful.
Yeah. So he is very like, and I don't know. So then he's like, I want to be. I think lately he wanted to be an engineer or one of the two. Anyway, I'm like, okay, so we want to be an engineer. To be an engineer, you're going to have to go to college. To go to college, you're going to have to get accepted. To get accepted, you have to have grades to get accepted. Yeah. To have the grades, you have to pass the spelling test. To pass the spelling test, you have to learn how to spell. Like, that is how I talk through everything with Cash, is I'm like, tell me your goal. Okay, now I'll tell you why you have to do what you need to do, because that's how his brain works.
That's how I work. Don't just tell me to freaking do something for the sake of doing it. I need to know the why of why I need to do it. I mean, I think you had the same conversation with me and why I needed to get my BCBA.
I did. You are correct. I had to backtrack that one too. Anyway, the other thing when we're focused so much on those academics is because, so one of those examples, again, they were doing so great in school that their behavior stuff was lifted, and that won't get put back on until they engage in that problem behavior again.
It's
those should not have been lifted just because she's being successful in school. No. You need to look across the environment and how the success is. But I also think that we are a little skewed in our family and our thought process on this too, because we have two very successful men who make a lot of money, Dad and Jay, who did not go to school for, like, I think Jay went to trade school, right? Did he go for electrician? Like, he had to go to classes to be an electrician. Yeah.
But he ended up he has a 2-year degree.
Yeah, there you go. And his
dad has nothing.
Yeah. Like, financially, they are successful in that sense. So it just is like the pressure for the academics. Again, I wish I would have learned more about taxes than parallelograms in school. Like,
Well, and I think too, I think we have to look at the whole child.
yeah,
And
an environment, the whole child and their environment.
because I do feel like having a benchmark of like Iowa test of basic skills, any other just flat based system on how we're going to mark if a child is going to be successful, not be successful, because we all know that
Yeah.
is really what we're using. I don't think that's the approach we need, because
Yeah.
I know 100% kids that are 100% successful that did not great in school or did not enjoy school and struggled. And then we have people who were super successful in school that were straight A's that can't function in society because of other like environmental and behavioral constraints. Like I think it goes both
Yeah.
ways too. And those
And
kids,
I'm not saying take out academics. Like, you do need your academic foundations. But I don't think that should be the only measurement to make a decision.
which is funny because as I was sitting and talking to someone last night, I said, "Oh, I have to go because I teach." And they're like, "Oh, I got class." I said, "I have class." And they're like, "Oh, well, what are you taking?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I teach it. I teach 2 classes." And they're like, "At a college?" And I'm like, and they didn't mean like she's a very lovely person and she's older, but I think I don't present myself all the time as
Really? That's a whole different episode.
super academic. And I said, "Well, actually I teach two classes." And her daughter came in and she's like, "Oh, where do you teach at?" And said it kind of jokingly. And I said, "Well, I teach at Purdue." And she's like, "Oh, well, what do you teach?" And I said, "Well, I teach in the master's program." And so the other lady I was talking to was like, "Oh yeah, she is, so you have a doctorate?" And I said, "Yes, I have a doctorate and I have 2 masters." And then I'm like, "Oh my God." As I'm sitting there, I'm like, how did I become academic? Like what? Like
Spite,
what?
remember?
Oh yeah. But then I'm like, oh my God, I'm highly educated. This was last. I'm like, oh my God,
So
I'm
last night you realized you're highly educated.
yes, but I can't do this. This all falls into it. Highly educated, but can I find my way out of a paper bag? Probably not. But highly educated.
Oh, yeah. So that's,
But
yeah.
I do agree. I do agree. I think that it's really important that we don't just focus on academics.
No.
Is
And yeah, we need to look at the whole.
2 highly educated women that have focused their whole life on academics, and now we're saying that that isn't what we should be focused on. Is that, I'm just curious if that's what we're
I don't know if focused on as much, but as the main indicator of success for a child is academia. Like, that should not be the main center of success at of a child. Like, we gotta look at other things. But yeah. Okay. So so today I'm not gonna make you manifest anything. Let's talk about our
God, because
pit in our
I just realized I was academic, so I can't manifest anything else right now.
I'm gonna work on that. Okay, what is your pit and peak for the week?
Well, my peak was that your dad did not injure himself laying on the side of a mountain in South Dakota, that I would have had to take care of him. My pit would be that it is April 24th and it is snowing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Not cool.
Not good.
Yeah. My pit would be that I'm hurt. My pit. My peak for this week has probably been I don't know what it is.
You have no peak?
My peak is neither of my children had cavities. Well, okay, technically Hugh had 1 cavity, but his body is expelling that tooth from his body.
Oh, well, no. So he probably, was he like,
no problem.
I don't have to brush ever because it's just going to expel it. So I'm good here.
It'll be fine. Yeah. No, it'll be good. Yeah. That's what I'm going with right now.
There you go.
All right.
Another riveting episode of nonsense. Love it.
I do. It's been ridiculous. But okay, if you want to hear more about us, or hear more from us, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at And Then She Said Podcast. And then our TikTok is up and running. I heard
we have a TikTok.
Stuff. Yeah. And then she said, so yeah. And then we will be amazing. That's all I got. That's it. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap. Bye.